This short video is an orientation to the Dreams Within Conflict intervention that we'll use within our session. So in the description below, I've put a link to this intervention, Dreams Within Conflict. This is not going to go through all of the directions of the exercise, but I did want to give you a brief orientation about some of the things I found that are missed when you read it without my guidance. The purpose of this intervention really is to help focus each partner on really listening in a different way to what's underneath the argument that seems to keep surfacing in your relationship. Oftentimes I hear couples talk about arguments really not being about the thing as much as something underneath. There's something consistent. This exercise really is trying to get at what's underneath. What's that consistent theme that couples, and perhaps yourself, are stumbling over. And the assumption is that within each conflict there is an underlying dream or need that your partner has. Like all interventions, there's a listener and a speaker. Speaker's job really is not to argue their point, but to just let your partner understand your thoughts and feelings around an issue. That's a really important aspect of this intervention. This is not an intervention focused on compromise, influence, or persuasion in any way. So you really want to try to take a very neutral stance in how you explain your position, but it needs to be honest and you need to feel safe. The listener's job often is the harder role in this exercise. They are offering that safety to their partner to tell them what is underneath the issue in which they're struggling around. Ask questions, but again, suspend judgment. You're not trying to solve the problem. It's much too soon for that. What you're really trying to do is reflect actively back what you're hearing. Bear witness to your partner's experience. On the other side of this exercise are these 9 questions to the left. The sample questions. The listener is going to be asking these questions. And so you would read the first question and do this verbatim to start with. Eventually, what I would hope that you'd reach is a place where you would integrate it into your own language, making it feel natural. But at this point, know that each question is designed on purpose and validated and also ordered for a particular reason. They walk from question 1 to question 9 very purposefully. And so I want to encourage you to follow that structure. You would ask the question as the listener, do you have any core beliefs, ethics, or values around this position for you or on this issue? And then allow your partner to safely explain what their position is. Take kind of a journalistic neutral stance, and you might want to, and in fact I encourage you to have a notebook and write down some of the key language or words that your partner uses to describe the core ethics or beliefs. In the description below, I'll not only include a link to this intervention, but also a link to some ideas around what they mean by core ethics and values. And then as your partner explains, you are bearing witness orally, repeating back what your partner offers you until your partner says that you understand completely. If there is hesitancy on your partner or the speaker's part, then you want to explore that. If they say something like, that's kind of it, then say, well, I want to get this right. Tell me exactly what I'm missing. What else do I need to understand to really understand this issue for you? Once they say that you have understood, then you can move to the next question. For example, is there a story behind this for you, or does this relate to your background or childhood history in some way? I've noticed that this question oftentimes has some type of experience or relevancy in almost every issue, and sometimes it's something that we don't allow for because there may be some negative experience or some painful experience in our past. Our partners to really explain or to reflect what that is for them and how it might influence the way they see the current issue. And so you want to try to really be curious and allow safe space for your partner to think about maybe a past experience having an influence in this current argument. Again, it's the same rules. You reflect back actively until your partner tells you that you fully understand. And then once you do, you can move to the next question. Sometimes what I've noticed is that when you do move to the next question, for example, tell me why this is so important to you, you may have heard a part answer to this question, or maybe you think you've heard the answer to this question completely. It's okay to say, honey, I think that what I've heard you say to this question is, and then repeat back what you understand might be the answer until your partner says, that's it. Yeah, that's everything that I can think of. But sometimes asking a question in a slightly different way elicits a new reflection, so allow your partner safety to reflect on maybe there is more to the story and when it's asked why it was important. Number 4, in the description below, I'll include a link to that emotion wheel. Sometimes I find it's helpful to have that in front of you as you talk about your feelings. And then for question 5 and 6, you can allow your partner to go through the right side, sample dreams. I'll move myself a little bit and then move down. You can see it goes all the way to 37. And let them scan through each of those, saying out loud where their dreams may be reflected in one of those examples. And then move to 7 and 8. Those are really important questions around reframing the pain or the thing that you guys are arguing about to what your partner actually needs from you. And so that's those 2 questions are really important to try to fully understand, given the experience, how do we turn it from something negative past related to future positive related. So what is it that they need from you in the future? And then number 9 is an important question to really understand the depth of importance around this issue for your partner. Or you guys are struggling over it over and over again, or it's causing intense pain. So there may be some worst case scenario attached to this experience for your partner that it's important for you to understand. So hopefully this is helpful to your understanding of how you would use the Dreams Within Conflict intervention. One point that I want to stress is that one person is the listener and one person is the speaker. Once you work your way through all 9 questions, then of course you would change the roles so that the speaker would be the listener and the listener the speaker. So there's a balance in this intervention, because the point of this intervention is that you both understand each other. It is not persuasion, it is understanding. We need to understand before we advise, before we move to compromise, before we move to influence. And Gottman's research suggests that 67% of the time, there is no solution. We have unresolved, gridlocked issues in which we just see things differently. This exercise helps us get at what's underneath that difference.